All right. Good afternoon, Hanshi. How are you?
Pretty good. How you doing today?
Good. Watching the world fall apart. At least if you listen to the news, that's what they're telling us. I don't think it's the case.
Well, every day it's a new and different drama.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Well, baseball's coming back.
Yeah, but only for TV, right? But you like
Who knows?
fans.
Yeah, I don't like the fans anyway. But no, here it's the billionaires are complaining they're not going to make enough money. The
Right.
millionaires are complaining they're not going to make enough money. But they gave like one deal where they're helping out the guys that work in the concession stand. Hey, we're going to give you 50 grand for all of you. Yeah, have fun.
What's that? Not even a hot dog a piece.
Yeah.
That's
At ballpark prices, it's
yeah.
not even a hot dog.
Maybe you get half the bun.
Yeah. But it's a good bun.
It's, yeah, it's kind of like that old date, right? you
I'm
know,
just going to leave that one alone.
well, I think everything that's going on right now, I think it's kind of, I hope people realize that they have to remember not to watch too much what's on TV, not to pay too much attention to social media, and remember that what really counts is when you're dealing with people one on one. That's
Yeah.
what really counts. And if you count on that, if you use that as your barometer, I think you realize that, like we've always said, most people are good. Um, and
Most.
yeah, most. There's always going to be a few, and it seems like they're getting all the
Yeah.
attention right now. I
Yeah,
mean,
because that makes good news.
yeah, it makes good news. It puts a paycheck out there for everybody, right?
That's right.
I mean, they're one of the few people that still get to work, right? So I don't know if you saw, like, this morning they were showing some video from Atlanta where they're trying to, I think, pull the same situation they pulled in Seattle. We're going to have this autonomous area. So everybody's walking around with a gun now, and we're going to protect ourselves from the police. But then after a little while, like what happened in Seattle, they start shooting at each other because nobody can decide who's in charge.
Yeah.
And it's just gotten really crazy.
Well, hey, shoot a few, more lettuce for everybody else.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
everybody wants to, like I said, everybody wants to be a fighter
Right.
until they get punched in the mouth.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. Then they find out it hurts.
yeah. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to
So,
actually hurt. I know. Well, they're doing that. And I was conversation we had off the air a little bit because where you're going to be heading out to this weekend, I thought might be solve part of the problem anyway. There's some things that need to be answered and fixed.
tweaked,
There's
yeah.
no, yeah, tweaked up. Like I said, as far as cops, most of them are good. And maybe if we had, like with the Wendy situation, if we had a canine there, I don't think it would have turned out the same way. I can't really speak
Oh,
to like the
absolutely
George
not.
Floyd, but there, what would have
But
happened, Jesse?
but what happened? How the hell do I know?
No, I mean, I don't think anybody would have run away.
No,
I know I would not have.
I don't. The one thing that puts fear in most people are dogs,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
think even if the dog does nothing. Now there was a video going out from from Las Vegas, or was it no Los Angeles? I'm sorry,
Okay.
where the guy it was in like Chino or somewhere. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And I remember the officer had a new dog, and the dog was wanting to please,
Right.
and the guy ran. The dog chased him, and then they couldn't get the dog off of him, and
Oh,
the dog's still chewing,
right.
and the crowd yelling. Of
Right.
course, the officers um, didn't seem like he had his full. Um, the dog didn't understand all the commands apparently,
Okay.
but then again, all the dog is a tool.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
so the guy was laying on the ground. He was being chewed,
Right.
you know.
But he
So
ended up with what? Maybe some stitches, right?
yeah, he gets yeah, he got some stitches.
But he's alive.
Yeah,
So really,
absolutely.
that's a worst case scenario with the dog, pretty much,
Yeah,
because where they're taught to hold on and everything.
to bite and hold.
Yeah, right. I remember. I got to tell you this because it was really funny. I used to patrol down in the desert. There was a couple guys that I would actually see jogging all the time, who I knew to be burglars, and we used to joke around. They were in training, so if we chased them, they could get away. So one day,
Huh.
sure enough, daytime burglar, right? Burglary. Um, as I'm arriving to the house, I see one of those joggers coming out. He sees me and he starts running. So, you know, and he's got a pillowcase. So what do you think, right? So
Huh.
I
He's
start,
Santa Claus?
yeah, well, yeah, in July, I start chasing him and we're running all through and it's hot. And I got all this gear I'm carrying and I was in really good shape back then, but still he drops the pillowcase and he keeps running. And now he's starting to get a little, distance from me, but I'm still on him. Right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I hear this officer freeze. And I thought, who the hell's telling me to freeze? And I just kind of turned my head a little bit and all I could hear with a little
Uh-huh.
comes this about 125-pound shepherd right by me. and this burglar is jumping on the cinder block wall. He gets his hands on the top of the wall and the dog latches onto his crotch, right? And then he's just sitting there. Really good dog. His name was Dog. Just sitting there, just waiting. And if ever there was a guy who had just run at least a mile, not breathing anymore, not moving anymore, and just begging to get the dog off of him, he was going to do whatever he was told. And then nonchalant, like, here comes the handler. Hey, how you doing? What's your name? Oh, Merrick. Yeah. Hey, I just didn't want you to confuse my dog. Well, I didn't want to confuse him either, I
don't want to get bit.
And he's having a conversation with me. And I said, well, don't we have to do anything? He says, no, Dolph's a really good dog. That guy's not going anywhere and he's not going to hurt him, unless he's only going to apply pressure if he moves. So he's sitting there introducing himself. We're talking. He goes, oh, I guess we should probably handcuff him now. So, he complies very comfortably. We handcuff him, get him back to the car. And I got a few more situations with Dolph after that. But I realized at that point that really, we can debate like whether or not we should have tasers or anything else, but that dog was amazing. And I really think that in a lot of these situations, they actually do de-escalate just by being there.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
you can yell at somebody, shoot me.
Right.
And they'll hesitate to shoot you.
Right.
You yell at a dog handler, you let that dog go and the dog's gone.
Right.
It's like, yeah. Have fun there, buddy.
You're not, I know I wouldn't move if that.
Yeah.
There's
stand
no way.
there and look at him.
Yeah. But problem solved. That guy got handcuffed. He got taken to jail, and we're only the messenger, right? We're not the judge and the jury. So it was a very clean arrest thanks to the dog. And I wish you only got there earlier because I was sweaty the rest of the day from that run.
There you go. So they're going to take a shower.
No. So I think we need more canines. And I think we need to also, people need to acknowledge a little bit here that neither one of us is saying that there aren't issues that need to be worked on. Okay.
Oh yeah. But you're yelling at 98% of the cops, or 97 if you believe the media.
Right.
If you believe that that's the truth, then you're looking at 1-2% maybe that are bad.
Right.
And or not
bad, but maybe just
not bad. Just either burnt out.
Right.
Or just don't have the personality to do it.
Or haven't been training like they're supposed to. There isn't enough training in this country. I was also, when I was watching the unfortunate event, at that Wendy's in Atlanta, the one thing I realized when I was watching them operate was they were second guessing themselves too much.
The whole time.
If you're comfortable and you train all the time, you're just going to do what you train to do. And it's going to be really smooth.
I think part of that too is not just they're comfortable and trained.
Right.
I think part of that is they knew everybody's watching them. They're in the drive-through, for God's sakes.
Right.
And the whole thing is just bad.
Right.
But I had somebody ask me a question the other day. One of my buddies who's on DEA. He asked me a question. He goes, "So what do you think, Jess?" And I said, "Are you asking me that because I'm a military guy who works with law enforcement, or are you asking me that because I'm black?"
Right.
And he goes, "Both."
Right.
And I said, "Well, on the black side, yes, there is a problem.
Right.
That's not even a question.
Right.
Now, how do you prevent that from being worse than it is? Obviously, education. Right. I remember up north in Fort Collins, my kids had never experienced it till I told you about that.
Right.
The one night we did. And it's funny, is the cop that I knew that I had trained was a canine officer who came up on scene, who asked the other officer, "What the hell are you doing?"
Right.
And he goes, "Well, they look suspicious."
Right.
So,
Well, okay, you know what? In defense, you do kind of look a little suspicious, not because you're black.
hey, it's because I can't do pushaways. Those mean anything.
But you know what?
But
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's like this. My kids had never experienced that.
Right.
You know, Fort Collins is like, I don't know, like Mayberry RFD.
That's what I always
You
tell
know?
people when they're
Yeah,
moving
it's
here. Yeah.
unbelievable. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then to see, and then to have them experience that when they're like in high school and not before.
Right.
That left a pretty indelible mark on their relationship. Because up until then, I had always told them, police are your friends.
Right.
That's how I grew up.
Me too.
All the cops I knew,
Yeah.
they're, hey, they came to the football games, they interacted with you. Hey, maybe cops today, police today don't have that same mentality. But it's like, guys in the neighborhood, well, we don't have neighborhoods anymore either.
No, and you hit on, I think, a very good point, something that probably should be and needs to be part of the solution. And that is, I remember growing up, and I think you do too, that we just didn't see police officers by themselves in the car with a computer and their cell phone just drive by. Okay. We actually knew who they were. I mean,
Yeah.
we knew them. Okay. And I think that's a really powerful tool, is that if you're working a certain area, but a lot of the people that live there, your reaction and how you respond to things is going to be totally different, because it's not just this body there. That person.
Yeah.
If they're good or bad.
Yeah.
If they are bad, you kind of know what to expect. So that's good for officer safety. But you also know, hey, wait, I have to take a second look at this because I know this kid or whoever it is.
Yeah.
Right? And
He's a good
I know they're
kid.
good kid. Yeah. So
good family. Yeah.
you alleviate a lot of those issues by just having that interaction. And we don't have that as much anymore. I was thinking about that. I used to tell the kids growing up, I said, hey, you're going to think I'm a little silly, but anytime you see a cop car or whatever, just wave and smile. Just wave and smile. Like, well, why? I said, because you're probably going to be the only person that does that, and they're going to remember you. They're going to remember that you waved and smiled at them. And if down the road something happens, believe it or not, they're probably going to remember you because it happens so little, right? I think that's what we need more of it. I remember one thing that changed when I had got started in the early 80s. And then when my dad was on the LA County Sheriff's Department, right, is they used to have 2-man units. So, and they used to have walking patrols. Even a big area like that, you couldn't really do that like in Malibu Canyon areas where they could, they'd get out and walk around. And so you'd know everybody, the storekeeper, you'd know, who's ever working at the bar or whatever. You get a feel for who's doing what. You'd learn a lot more about what shouldn't be going on than just driving by in a car, because people would talk to you, but you were part of the community. You're part of that family. You're not just some guy in a uniform. I mean, where I worked down there, a lot of the guys would call me by my first name,
Yeah.
I mean, because we knew who everybody was. So if you come in a big crowd and there's something going on, and I can spot people that I know that aren't going to be the issue, and I can spot a couple that I know are, I know which way to go or to direct my attention. We don't have enough of that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think we grew up at a different time where we had a different respect for authority.
Right.
Oh
my gosh.
we've got a whole generation that has no respect.
No, and too much free time.
And too much free time. And who do you blame that on?
Well, right now we can blame the government. They took a lot of jobs away. Well, family too.
Let's bring it in. You blame it on their family.
Yeah, I agree.
The parents put a video screen in front of the kid, and the kid's in front of the. It's like I'm not going to say their name, but anyway, they've got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Right.
And I'm asking them, why the hell do you even have kids?
Right.
Because the kids are not they're not interacting with their children.
No, computers babysitting them.
Yeah, the bingo.
Yeah.
Mom's got her issues, dad's got his issues, and the kids now are going to have issues.
Well,
so what are you going to do? So
when my son was about, gosh, I want to say like 11 or 12, and he got to play certain games, not all the games, right? But there was this one kind of like Warlike game, and I would sit there and explain things to him, like, you have to understand, this is not reality. This is not real. Like, if you get killed here, you regenerate a couple seconds later and you start all over again. It's not like that
Not in real life.
in real
no.
life. And I could see there was a little bit of change where we start limiting the time he was on the game. And then all this, like, when I get older, I want to go do all this. It's going to be so cool. And I said, well, maybe, but it's not all that cool. So my wife's cousin was visiting. He had done 4 tours. He was an infantry sergeant, 4 tours in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting is with all that work and everything, he ended up coming back here. And he's a deputy sheriff now, but he's got a really, really good heart, you know? And like you, I know, but like you, all the
Don't
things.
tell anybody.
No, I'm not going to tell anybody unless they're listening. But that's a big thing. It's also something that should be commended, especially when you've had to live the life you've lived sometimes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got him. His name's Jared. I got him alone. I said, hey, I need you to do me a favor. He said, what's that? I said, Paul thinks it's all just glamour and, wonderfulness here to be like an Army Ranger or something like that. And I think he needs a little test of reality. I don't want to be, I'm the dad. So obviously whatever I say doesn't always count quite as much. I said, but he knows where you've been. He really respects you. Go up to his room and have a little talk with him and answer his questions. He goes, any of them? I go, whatever he asks you, you can answer. He says, okay. It's upstairs about 40 minutes, right? Comes back downstairs. Paul's like, yeah, I don't think I want to do that anymore. but here's the thing. Of all the stuff they probably talked about, he said, you know what, Dad? He was telling me about their sewer system. He goes, and when it rains, how bad it can be because it's, third world country, if that. And that just grossed him out. He didn't want to deal with that.
Well, hey, you know what? People need to know it's a whole big picture to being in the military or being a cop.
Yeah. It's a lot different.
Yeah.
A lot different.
I don't know. I can't really. A lot of the policemen I know, used to have hair.
Right.
Now they don't.
Yeah. Well,
but some of them look unapproachable
because
they don't smile.
Hair. Right. You're right. Well, and I had that too. My wife tells everybody it took her 2 years to get me to smile. And I said, I am smiling. She goes, no, you may think you're smiling, but you're really not. And you get this military same way. You get this look. You don't want your objective to know what you're thinking. So you just got this straight face all the time. It just develops, Yeah. And you also, I will admit, you also forget, if you do it long enough, you start to forget that most people are good. I mean, that's why I think you need to be switched around or more training like, and getting down. And if there's a way to do that, I mean, it would cost more because you'd need more cops probably. You got to get together with face-to-face contact with people on a regular basis, because that will remind you that you're not just dealing with the guys you're arresting all the time. You're dealing with a lot of good people out there, and it will change your mindset and how you deal with things.
Well, more people, how many people actually know a cop? How many people will say, hey, I've got a friend who's a cop.
Right.
Oh, about the same number that know black people.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
So, it's funny because when this thing happened,
too,
and Mayberry, no blacks in Mayberry, damn it. I was at church I guess it was a couple months ago.
Right.
And I remember there was another issue going on, and they were going like, in order to understand somebody, you have to walk a mile in their shoes or moccasins, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Right.
And I thought about the whole thing, and people who didn't even know me at church came up to me and, hey, how you doing? My name is so-and-so. And then they did it once. And then I said, oh, let's see how long it lasts.
Right.
And then I missed a week.
Right.
Probably going off chasing bad guys.
Right.
And then I missed a week. And then I came back the following week. New people came up to me and said, hey, how you doing? But the people that talked to me a couple weeks before, they did enough to stay in their comfort zone. They didn't do anything else.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess you can't complain about it because they at least tried it.
Right.
You can't say somebody you don't like something unless you try it.
Right.
So,
well,
they tried it.
It's a first step though, too. It's better than not doing anything at all. And I think, well, a lot a lot of that is dependent upon, like you say, like your environment, where you grew up, or what you think you know or don't know.
Yeah.
So this is such a mobile society now. I think there's a lot of confused people out there. I really do.
Yeah, but nobody's taking the time to figure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't pretend to know all the answers, but I do think that some of this is probably easier to approach than people are willing to accept.
yeah,
And like sometimes you can make it too complicated.
yeah, and
I
it's
mean,
not.
it's not. It's not. Hey, let's have a cup of coffee. That's what you think there's this big war brewing between Americans right now. At least some people are trying to do that, but it's easily solved. Let's go have a cup of coffee and talk about it.
Yeah.
We agree on a lot of things. We don't agree about everything. That doesn't mean we want to kill each other. We've been friends,
No.
what, 30 years? I mean,
Oh my God.
we've been friends
Has it
since
been
we
that
both
long?
had hair.
That's true. I did have hair. When
I had some hair too.
You had hair too.
God.
No, you look at the legal system and the whole thing. It's like folks getting, divorced and all this, and it's just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't really. I don't know. Nobody's in it to win it.
No.
They're in it until there's trouble, and then
Right.
they back out. Or I listen to somebody, oh my God, a guy I've known for years. Oh, I want this job so bad, and he does all this work. He gets the job. He's sitting in there, and he's going, I know more than all these people know. Okay, I think I'm going to quit. Okay, what are you going to do? I don't know, but so now he's selling half his stuff. He bought a minivan,
Okay.
and he's just going to travel the country. I don't know how much he got for his stuff. So I don't know. Maybe he's independently wealthy. I don't know.
Depends on what he sold. He's going to travel the country and maybe get out of the state. That's about it.
Yeah, that's about all he's going to do.
You
You go to Nebraska and work in a restaurant.
One thing I think part of the issue here is, and I'm sure we're going to have some complaints about this. I hope you can read the sign behind me. If you can't, our email is areyourreadytoroll@gmail.com. I hope the sign is big enough to see that. We'll put it under our section on the podcast channel itself, so you have it in there under description if you want to contact us. But I think life's been a little bit too easy for some people lately. I remember when I would take a job, maybe work for nothing just to get the experience, so I could get paid doing that job. You don't see that happen anymore,
Well, no, because it is what it is.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to work too hard. Nobody wants to work too hard. That's
or work.
Yeah. Nobody wants to work.
So I want to get your thought on, I guess I'll give you my first inkling with this is that we're getting a little bit too picky, but I want to get your thought on this. So did you see the lamest, it should be the lamest actually, with Jimmy Kimmel and then Jimmy Fallon, because somewhere in the back, like in the 90s on a TV show, they wore makeup and imitated, like, I think one was a basketball player and one was Snoop Dogg or whatever else. They were doing comedy, right? And now they got him out there apologizing for doing that. I can see one thing in the right context where something like that could be really derogatory, but I don't get it why you're apologizing if you're just doing a comedy. And because I was always raised that imitating somebody is like the greatest form of flattery.
Flattery, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we went a little too farther, but you tell me what you think.
I don't know. I think people are too sensitive. Put your big boy girl panties on, pull your head out of your butt, and concentrate on the stuff that's important.
Right.
How about raising your family?
Right.
How about being a good neighbor?
Right.
How about taking care of your business? Okay. Right. If you have, this is simple. If there's something on you don't want to watch, turn off the damn TV.
Right.
If there's a problem, vote. How many people are not voting? Don't use, people died for the right to vote and have been fighting for it for hundreds of years.
Got
and
so
now
many family members. Yeah. So many family members that have gone. We've got you who I mean, what, 14 years as a SEAL, going all over
Mhm.
the place, and then other things. But my dad was a POW for 3 months. Okay. All these people went out and fought for these rights that we're talking about right now, including the right to vote, and you don't exercise that right. I mean, that's a slap on the face to everybody who's ever put on a uniform.
Yeah, it's and I'm going to say this, and I know I'm going to piss people off, but part of the deal is folks were going, Black Lives Matter. Okay, I get it, I understand it. I'm
Right.
black, I know.
Right.
What about Black lives in inner cities? What are people doing to stop the gangs?
Right.
What are people doing to stop the drug dealers?
Right.
What are people doing to stop the homicides? So so and so killed so and so. Why aren't you calling the police? Why aren't you policing them? Why aren't you doing the job?
I guess what
You know what I
saddens
mean?
I do. I guess what saddens me a little bit on that note is that we're using, and it was terrible what happened to Floyd. Okay, there's
Oh,
no
absolutely.
one's gonna argue that. It's just said and done. It was bad. But we don't hear anything about baby James in Chicago last week. A little 3-year-old boy just sitting there like watching TV or doing just pure innocence.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about him. I mean,
Oh, of course not.
I guess that's not big enough news, and that's the saddest part of it. I
Yeah.
mean,
We it's, I don't know.
yeah, I think you're right. I think there's too much time spent on things that really don't matter, and not nearly enough time spent on things that do. And
Yeah.
and and it's just so simple. If people just, you know, it, it's like when we were training, one of the things we learned was to acknowledge people as you like you come in inside like a supermarket or whatever, and someone's coming out. You hold the door open for them. You say, "Hey, have a nice day," right? You're acknowledging their existence. You just made their day a little bit better by being nice.
Yeah.
But guess what? If they're not a nice person, if that person did something or is thinking about doing something they didn't want to do or they shouldn't do, you just acknowledge them too. And now they're probably going to think about it twice because someone saw them there. So
Yeah.
it actually lowers crime by just being kind to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, so anyway, so what do you got going this weekend?
Oh, I'm going to go train with some dogs, a canine unit, and learn how to be an evaluator for military folks who want to get dogs.
That should be fun.
And then, when the dogs come back, the ones that can't or don't go with their handlers from the military, now they're letting vets adopt them.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
we don't lose the dogs.
That's good. That's good.
And then again, on my side, a little bit more is I'm working on. I have a program called CMAD, Combat Master Attack and Defense, and now we're incorporating canine into the mix, where we kind of teach moms, people who are armed, how to prevent an assailant from getting between you and your kids, that kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all pretty cool. It's a good deal.
So
it'll be fun. So we go take a 4 or 5 day class and learn about what I need to do and how it needs to work and how to help my fellow veteran brother and sisters.
Time well spent. Time well spent. Yeah. Do I see you in the future getting one of these dogs?
Probably. At the rate my dating my dating world is going, I'd be better off getting a dog.
I'm not going to touch that with a 11-foot pole. Hey, I got a couple of good ones for you. So last week we were talking about Stipe and Jon Jones, right?
Yeah.
And you said, well, if they fight, he's greatest or whatever. So I was reading a couple of things about Jon Jones I thought were pretty interesting. One, he back, probably last year, right? He called Stipe the greatest heavyweight of all time. I think that's pretty cool, but it kind of bodes towards my indication that if they do fight, it's gonna be a different thing because he's going up in weight quite a bit, and that things change a little bit like that. I would admit it'd be a great fight, But the thing that my son brought up something the other day that was in the news about Jones, and I thought it was pretty cool. I would have loved to have been there. I would have loved to videotape this. I guess they were protesting down. He lives in Albuquerque.
Yeah, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yep.
Yeah. I guess they were out there protesting or wherever. He didn't have a problem with that. Then they started spray painting and destroying things or whatever. I guess he walked up to 3 or 4 of these young men and said, "That's it. Give me the cans." And they go, "No." He goes, No, you have no respect. You're going to destroy your own neighborhood." He goes, "Give me the cans and walk away." And I guess one of them recognized him, and they all gave him the cans. And
yeah,
said, "Okay, thank you very
give him the
much."
can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're not going to remember what happens to you.
yeah. I saw a flash, and then I woke up in the hospital. Yeah.
My friends were sitting here right next to me. I don't know what happened, but I thought that was pretty cool. But I think it's like hearing that story. Just to me, I know we're a little sick, right? To me, that just made my day. It's like someone actually called you out. You know, where's your pop or somebody telling you that they should be out there telling you the same thing. He's got to do that. I think it's very cool that he did.
He's at home playing Call of Duty.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's sad.
Who knows?
I don't know, but I just thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, so let's do our movie review. People are gonna. It's not your normal movie review because we don't care what other people think or their opinions about it at all, unless you're listening to the show and you want to email us your opinions or maybe a movie you want us to review. We're just going to give you our take on it because we're old. We've been all over the world. Our idea of how things work is probably a little bit different because we've been around so long, and that's how we're.
Well, actually, I was told we shouldn't say we're old.
Oh, really?
One of my buddies who just got back from Afghanistan said, "You know what, Coach? You probably should say you're mature."
Okay, we're mature
or seasoned.
Oh, I like seasoned.
I like
seasoned.
I like seasoned too.
Because we're seasoned. We've seen many seasons, and some were good, some were not so good.
Some are not so good.
Tell them what movie we wanted to talk about today for a little bit.
Ford versus Ferrari. Which
I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, really, I thought it'd be kind of cool to watch because, car movie or whatever, but they did a really good job of taking me back in time.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of that.
Yeah. There's a lot of movies that I watch that I don't get I watch the movie first. So I kind of do it opposite.
Right.
Or I watch the movie first, and if the movie interests me, then I'll go get the book. And I don't know, 20, 30 times I've done it. And it's really filled in a lot of blanks for me, but I'm just watching it for entertainment.
Right.
But the Ford versus Ferrari we were a Chevy family anyway. So when my dad brought a station wagon, Ford LTD Brougham, when he bought the station wagon, my uncles and my grandfather didn't talk to him for a while because he bought a Ford. But I can tell you, after watching that movie, I'll never buy a Ford.
Oh.
Never. I mean, if they give me one, I'll take it. But I'd never buy one.
Wow.
After seeing everything they went through, and the deuce.
Right.
Him telling them, "Hey, you report to me." And then a week later, that weasel, I'm not even going to say the guy's name.
Right.
But, Lee Iacocca, I thought he had, balls of steel.
Yes.
I guess not. But then again, he wasn't in a position where he could mandate things. But the jerk that was running Ford at the time.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, I like the actor.
Right.
But I immediately didn't like the character he portrayed.
The acting was really good. I mean, the acting, I was really impressed. And the thing that got me probably more about the movie than anything else, I agree with you on that, but is that it brought me, it really did for that afternoon. I was like thinking back growing up as a kid, how things were, that's what I think, what really, how things have changed. And, we get all these people upset about something right now, but if you go back 50 years, right, how much less did we all have and we were happy? I mean, literally. Now I got to go buy my $3 bottle of water. Back then we just go to
$3. That's on sale. Where did you get that?
Oh, thank heaven. we want to thank. We should thank our sponsors right now that we don't have. Like, we really want to thank Omega Watches.
Yes, we really want to thank them,
Yeah,
but we can't because they're not a sponsor yet. Wink, wink.
wink, wink. Yeah, but we would if they did, because we think their products are just absolutely amazing. I mean,
Yes.
yeah. And who else do we want to dream thank that we wish they were a sponsor right now? I guess we could say Ferrari.
Ferrari.
McCallum's,
Yes.
and just about every top of the line sake manufacturer in Japan. I think we would be happy.
Hey, there's some good ones in the United States now too.
There are. Oh my gosh. We're gonna do a more thorough review. Maybe we'll do that next week, and we'll just go down the different sakes and what it means, and maybe we'll see if we can get the master of disaster on to talk with us. That would be hilarious.
The Tokyo tornado.
That's right. We are lucky enough to live really close to somebody who I don't think a lot of people realize actually the level of his expertise, not only just with sushi, but with sake. I mean, just it's quite an experience. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but the one thing, like getting back to the movie, is that I for a little while I felt like, oh yeah, I remember when I was like 8, 9 years old, and how things were, and you look around, all of us have so much more than any of us had back then. Just technology, whatever else. We were happy. Things got by. I mean, I remember the big deal about getting, like I said, the drink of water was in the summertime you had to let the water run for a while, otherwise it would be really cold. Hot. Yeah, you'd burn your lip, or whatever.
Yeah.
And now it's like, do I want the water from Iceland? Do I want the water from France?
Fiji?
From Fiji, yeah.
Yeah, I want the water from Fiji.
Yeah, we'll get the one on sale for $3.
There you go.
Gosh, things really have changed.
Well, we have more disposable income, and then we're also inundated more, not just on television.
No.
But on social media, on every different platform.
Absolutely.
That can carry a signal of what you should be wearing, what you should be drinking, what you should be eating.
Right.
And you know what? I mean, it's funny. Was it one of the guys was telling me, and he was kind of going through a little bit of a withdrawal, that Victoria's Secret sold.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guess it was a couple months ago. Obviously, I don't pay attention to Victoria's Secret. They don't have anything in my size, but I don't know.
Nor I.
But I guess they sold. They're trying to change the image, where you're not just a toothpick, but some of those toothpicks look pretty good. Just saying.
Who'd they sell to?
I don't know. I forget the company. He was all Twitter pated. So I was like, dude, calm down.
Oh, boy.
They'll start whatever they do again. I mean, look at the runway, the fashion models.
Uh-huh.
Now, first we had a thing against chunky people.
Right.
Now we got a thing against skinny people.
Right.
Now, next it'll be, if you're healthy, you can't be in there. Yeah. If you're sick, I don't know. We got to finally constantly find somebody to bitch at.
Yeah. I think there's always has to be something to complain about, when really maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's okay just to be happy.
Now there's a concept.
Too much free time, or time not well spent listening to somebody else. Yeah. That says,
that's not
so
us.
Terrible. No.
That's right. You should be listening to us, because we'll tell you how it is.
Well, listen to us and we'll remind you that life is good, because the alternative sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra used to say, "May you live to be 100 years old, and may I be there to cry over your grave."
Back in the day,
Back in the day, yeah, I know. When I was painting houses.
Painting houses and doing my own carpentry.
Oh my gosh. So for our listeners, and I guess viewers, for those that go on YouTube, so you see the Duke back here. He's really popular. I don't know if you can see, if I can adjust the camera on this. Maybe not. But there's a pencil sharpener up there. And then over in the top shelf, we have some really fine sakes and scotches or whatever, things that we're going to be reviewing as time goes on. So a question, if you're listening, I hope you are, what is the significance of the pencil sharpener when I'm talking to Jesse, and I can see that he's getting upset about something. He really doesn't get upset that often, by the way. That I'm going to sharpen a pencil for him. If you can come up with that answer as we design some shirts for the show, we'll send you a free one. First person can come up with the reason for that, we're gonna send you a shirt as we get them designed. So
We're working on it.
you can advertise for us, basically. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So that's the question of the week. I think maybe we could go on to one of our favorite topics, and it's getting us near that time. Is what pissed you off today? What pissed you off, Hanchi?
Oh, I don't know how the hell they're going to have a pro season without having a vaccine for sports. You know, I watched the thing the other day, and I listened to players today, like the tennis player Djokovic, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
The Joker.
Djokovic.
Yeah.
Djokovic. Yeah.
Djokovic.
Yeah.
Isn't he from your neck of the woods?
He's Serbian.
Yeah.
So
he's not Croatian.
No, he's Serbian.
Okay. Well, then, I was going to call you out on that, but I'll let it go. He's on.
Something.
Yeah, he was on American television, or being interviewed by ESPN, saying how he is all worried about COVID. And people need to take precaution, and he won't play in this and that. Yet he hosts his own tournament.
Yeah.
Nobody's wearing a mask. Nobody's doing anything. And then everybody gets sick.
How much is he like a lot of people, though? And I guess on that topic, though, I know that there's been a big surge. I know, I guess Houston's seen a really big one or whatever.
Yeah.
But we knew that was going to happen, though. We knew that was going to happen because it's going to happen no matter what you do. It's going to happen. People are going to some people are getting, but how many people are really getting really, really sick from it? That's and I don't think it's as much as we're all going to get infected. If we get by somebody that's going to have it, but how many people are actually going to staying in the hospital?
Yeah.
Then decide, we may never have a vaccine for that, right? They're starting to say now that may never happen, and I'm going to, now you tick people off. This is what ticks me off. I'll tell you that brings in a good note. I'm a little upset. I'm not saying that he's completely responsible, but I am a little upset at the fact that every time we want to hear something about COVID, which is really kind of old news now, is because we have protests and anarchists trying to tear down, like the Emancipation statue, and that makes no sense to me. It was paid for by slaves. Yeah,
freed slaves.
Yeah. But don't get me started. Because that pissed me off too. But we listened to the man who basically during the Obama administration sent $3.7 million to that lab in China to work on exactly what happened to us, and was warned that you shouldn't do it, right? And so now they're saying it didn't come from that lab. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I think it's awful funny that we're trying to, go after gain of function by a transmission from a bat to a human, the coronavirus. So what are the chances that, the guy we're listening to about what we should be doing, the guy that we're listening to that changes his mind every week about masks and everything else, may have in part been the cause of this to begin with.
Yeah.
So,
or had some responsibility in the research.
Yeah. And I'm not saying he did it to hurt people, right? I'm not even suggesting that, but it didn't come from that wet market. They're pretty sure of that now. And so where did it come from? And you paid people to work on the exact same thing that happened and that we had to deal with the last, 6 months now?
Yeah, there's this guy called James Bond.
Yeah.
He warned us about this. I forget what movie it was, but I remember him fighting bad guys. Was it Mr. Q, Mr. O? Yeah.
Yeah,
they were going to release some kind of a drug or chemical or virus to kill the world.
Right.
We need James.
Yeah.
Break him out of mothballs.
Well, they put him on a hold. Can't even go see that next movie till November now.
I know.
Because of this.
And we can't see Top Gun.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah, but there's a new one out on Netflix that I'm going to watch with some of my Navy buddies this weekend when we're at
which one?
when we're all together. It's called The Five Bloods.
Oh, I'll watch that and we can review that next week then.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll do
Yeah.
Five Bloods. That's what we're doing next week is Five Bloods. Yeah,
The
I
Five
saw
Bloods.
that.
That's a Spike Lee movie.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About some black guys that were in Vietnam and everything they had to go through, and the racism they endured.
Right.
Not only in the American military, but by the Viet Cong. It's like, who's shooting at me this week? So yeah, I'm
we're
here
laughing,
fighting
but
for
it's not
freedom.
that funny. Yeah.
It's not that funny.
No.
So,
No.
but again, the movie couldn't have come out at a better time,
Right.
and the whole way it's set up is pretty interesting.
Oh, okay. Let's make that the review for next week.
Okay.
Yeah. Sound good.
Now I gotta watch it.
Now, yeah. I hope it's good. All
Well,
right.
it's been getting pretty good reviews, but but it hasn't gotten our review yet.
No, and nothing really matters until we review it because it doesn't matter what
That's right.
other people think. Only matters what we say.
That's right.
And once
That's
you
it.
once you accept that fact, then life is so much easier. Because we're legends in our own mind.
Yeah. Once we find our minds, we'll let you know.
Yeah. Once we find, because we are seasoned. So
Seasoned.
yeah. All right, I'm gonna go find something to season.
Wow, it just sounds wrong on so many levels.
There's a mama bear and a papa bear. Guess what? All right, we're going on a tangent here. Are you good?
I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right.
And,
Thank you.
We'll talk to you all next week. Don't forget, if you got a question, a comment, a suggestion, it's are you ready to roll? The number 2. Okay. Are you ready to roll at gmail.com? And we'll have links on the description probably very shortly here. So if some of these discussions or topics we were talking about, you'll see why we brought them up to begin with. All right. Everyone have a good one. Good day.